What's up, y'all? Chef Billy Parisi is here and in the kitchen, and holidays are about to be in full effect. So I've got an absolutely amazing gluten-free homemade cornbread stuffing with chorizo sausage that's done in partnership with Bob's Red Mill. If you've been following me for a little while, you know that I am all about twisting up those classic recipes. Now, there's nothing wrong with them. I'm just kind of over them. That's why last year I made beef tenderloin, and the year before I made pasta for Thanksgiving. Gotta switch it up. So this year, instead of the traditional stuffing, I'm gonna be making some cornbread stuffing. And because mother-in-law is gluten-free, we're gonna make it gluten-free, but I promise it's not gonna skip a beat. The first thing we need to do is make up that cornbread batter. We're gonna start by adding some eggs to a very large bowl. Next, mix in some sugar, followed up by pouring in some melted unsalted butter. We're gonna whisk it together until it's completely combined. And the next thing we wanna do is go over to a separate bowl. We're gonna add in some buttermilk to that. We're gonna hit it with a bit of baking soda. We're gonna whisk that just until combined. And then we're gonna go back to that other bowl with the butter, sugar, and eggs, pour it right in there and mix it together until it is completely combined. Now that everything's combined, it's dry ingredient time. I'm gonna be using Bob's Red Mill gluten-free cornmeal. Gonna add a ton of great flavor and corn grit in there, add it right to that wet mixture. And now for the game changer, the Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour. This stuff is phenomenal. It allows me to make my favorite recipes, but keep them gluten-free, just like this one. Add that to the bowl. We're gonna add in a pinch of sea salt, followed up with a little bit of baking powder, and then whisk this together until it is completely combined. Once it is to that perfect consistency, transfer it over to a cookie sheet tray lined with parchment paper. Add all of it all over that cookie sheet tray. Spread it out using a rubber spatula so that it's as even as you can possibly get it. Hit it over to the oven on 325 degrees. Gonna take in between 25 and 30 minutes or until it's lightly browned on top and firm. All right, you guys, cornbread is done, and I have to stop here. Now, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, trying to stay as humble as possible, but this is the best cornbread recipe I've ever had, gluten-free or not, and I always pride myself in my cornbread. This is fantastic. So many times you hear my cornbread's dry or it's crunchy. None of that. You won't even know that it's gluten-free. And you know what? If you don't want it gluten-free, just swap out the Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1 with regular Bob's Red Mill all-purpose. It's the same thing. It literally is, it's amazing. I mean, you may not even make it to the stuffing part of this because it's so dang good. It's seriously good, bro. I promise you. Fantastic. Okay, set the cornbread to the side, let it cool. We're next gonna go over to a very large saute pan. What we wanna do is hit it with some unsalted butter. Once the butter is melted, we're going to add in some small diced yellow onions, followed up by adding in some diced celery. Next, some carrots. In the back side of the pan, I'm gonna add in some finely minced chopped garlic. Go ahead, grab a wooden spoon, start mixing these things together. I'm about medium heat. You wanna sweat these vegetables just until tender, slightly translucent on the onion. And then what we're gonna do is sort of scrape everything to one side of the pan. Instead of getting rid of everything or setting it to the side in another bowl, we're gonna just scrape it to the other side of the pan. This pan is definitely large enough. And now what we're gonna do is add in our chorizo to the other side of that empty pan. We wanna cook it until it's cooked through, nice and brown on the outside. Takes about 5 to 6 minutes. Again, I'm still on medium heat. Now go ahead and combine all of those ingredients together, so the chorizo and those sweated out vegetables. Let's go back to our cutting board surface. Now I've got sort of a binder, so set the chorizo mixture to the side. I've got some eggs in a bowl. I'm gonna pour in some chicken stock, and then using a whisk, break up those egg yolks, whisk this mixture together completely until it's combined. Set it to the side. Now we're going back over to that cornbread on the sheet tray. It's nice and cooled down so I can touch it. We want to cut it into 1 to 2 inch cubes. So just literally make a line with your knife straight down every 1 inch or 2 inches. Go crossway the other way till you got some beautiful cubes. Now take some of that out of the sheet tray. We're going to a casserole dish. It's a 13 by 9. It's gonna be perfect size. If you want a little bit bigger, totally cool too. There's plenty of extra cornbread, but I was gonna save that so you can put it in your turkey. Just a little FYI there. Add it to the casserole dish. Next, pour in that chorizo vegetable goodness all over the top of that cornbread. The smells in here are insane. Once it is poured in there, go back to that egg chicken stock mixture, pour that all over the top of it, and then gently, and I mean gently, because you don't want to break up the cornbread too bad, use that wooden spoon and combine everything, mix it together. You won't need to mix too much because that cornbread's going to suck up that goodness. Absolutely perfect at this point. Going back to the oven, 350 degrees this time for 20 to 25 minutes, or until it's a little bit brown on top. Everything is finished. It smells awesome in here. It looks great. And this thing inside of a turkey is going to be ridiculous this holiday season. Of course, as usual, got to try some out. Dude, I told you, the cornbread is so good, but with that chorizo, dude, put this thing in a smoked turkey. I'll see y'all next week. Don't want to wait any longer. See ya.